Good afternoon to you lovely people and happy Friday to you all. How are you doing? How are we all doing? Greetings from sunny Dubai. I hope that you are having lots of good sunshine wherever you are. How is this Friday treating you? How has this week been? End of April, can you believe we are a third of the year through already? Can you believe that? This year is just charging past. I hope that you are really well. Let me know how you are. Give me a wave. Let me know how is your family, how is your business, how is your team. Hello to you, wherever you are. Thank you for joining. Let me know where in the world you are. And how are you feeling this week? Has spring come to where you are? I know in the UK we've got a bank holiday, which is always a fun time. So I hope you get lots of sunshine today. Has the spring come to wherever you are? Good afternoon to you. Happy Friday. A few more people joining now. I feel like I've been talking to myself a little bit, but hello, welcome to you. Welcome to Simon. Hi, Lee. Is that Sarah also that I saw there? Welcome to you. Happy Friday. Give me a wave, give me a thumbs up. Let me know that you are there and let me know how you are doing. How is your family? How is your business? How is your team? How is your garden? Spring has come. I hope spring has come to you. I'm sending you lots of lovely sunshine. If you haven't got enough where you are you managing to spend out some time outside in nature? Isn't this a wonderful time of year? Oh, hi MJ. MJ saying it's cold. Oh no. Well, you know what they say about bank holidays in the UK. We always have dodgy weather, don't we? I'll send you some lots and lots of sunshine from here in Dubai where it is piping hot. Let me know how you're doing. I hope you've had a good week. End of April already. A third of the year has gone by. Can you believe it? We're going to be May tomorrow. Amazing. So let me know, what have you been working on this week? Has it been a good one? All good here. People management training started again this week, which is always fun. Great new group of business owners and managers wanting to learn some management skills or maybe brush up on their management skills. So I always enjoy that training. So started that this week. Thank you to all of you who have referred friends and colleagues to me, whether for one-to-one coaching or working with their teams. Goodness me, lots of inquiries coming in at the moment, so thank you so much. I've also got some great interviews lined up for my next book, which I'm really excited about. So thank you to those of you that have put people in touch with me. Also, welcome to the new joiners in this community. I think we're almost up to 850 people, goodness me. So welcome to each and every one of you. I'm really passionate about serving you and giving you lots of great value in these weekly lives and through this community. I really want you to know that you are not alone. It can be a lonely roller coaster ride, starting and running your own business and scaling your business and managing your team and all of those lovely things that we talk about. So I want you to know that you are not alone. Support is here. Please feel free to post your questions, your challenges. Let us know how you're getting on into this group. My team does review all of the posts to stop a few people who like to just simply share a link to their page or are blatantly trying to sell stuff, which is not at all what this group is about. This is about solving challenges and learning from each other and supporting each other, not for promoting your business. No issues at all if you want to share from your business page, of course, but tell us what the story is. Tell us what challenges you're facing, what lessons are you learning, what questions do you have, how can we support and encourage you? If you just simply share your post, share your page, or just blatantly dump something into the group, your post will not be approved. You have been warned. So in addition to our weekly live Fridays that we do every Friday at 12 noon, we also have Ask Me Anything sessions in this group every Monday at 3 p.m. UK time. I'm in the group at that time to answer any of your questions that you have about starting or running a business. I'm not on video, but I am there answering your questions in the chat. So either pop your questions into the group in advance or join me at 3 p.m. on a Monday to get them answered live. So how about you? How are things with you? How are you doing this week? It seems like it continues to be a really busy time for everyone. I really hope that you and your business are thriving, but if you're not, then that's okay. We all have ups and downs. Please let me know what support you need. You are not alone. I can see that several of you have booked in clarity calls for next week, and I'm really looking forward to speaking with you. If you'd like to get past your blockers, take that next step in your business, then do book in a call with me and let's get you a good dose of clarity. I have a few slots each week that I make available for these clarity calls, completely free, and made available to members of this community. So do grab yours now. You can find the link in the pinned post at the top of this group. Last week, we were talking about writing your book. How very exciting. I shared with you my own experiences of writing my first book and also how I'm approaching my second book. We talked through the 5 stages of writing a book. So why write a book, what to write about, the actual writing process, the editing, and then the publishing. I was sharing, some of my experiences, some of the mistakes that I made along the way and some of my learnings, so that hopefully you can short circuit and do a better job and a more efficient job than I did on my first book. If you didn't get a chance to join me live last week, you can find a recording in this group. Also, my publisher has offered to come and do a live with me, so do get in touch if that would be of interest to you. And if you'd like to write along with me, then do get in touch. I'm making some good progress and I'm planning to do some more on Bank Holiday Monday. So do let me know if you'd like a bit of accountability in writing your book. All of my lives are organised into guides in this group. We have 4. There's a welcome guide with some information about me and about the group, and then there are 3 other guides units that are filled with resources and all the lives dated back to when we started this community base all the way back in June 2019. If you are feeling stretched too thin, overwhelmed, not quite sure what to focus on or kind of how to get yourself organised, then head over to the Simplify Your Business Guide, which has loads of hints and tips on how to make life easier for yourself, how to organise your time and how to focus on what's important. Then there's Grow Your Business, which is all about client acquisition, scaling and managing people. So if that's what you're tackling right now, then that is very much the guide for you to check out to find the support that you need. And then the third and final of the 3 is the Enjoy Your Business Guide, which focuses on you and your role and how to ensure that the business that you are building, whatever that might be, continues to delight and inspire you. What we really don't want is you falling out of love with your business. So everything I do falls into one or more of those 3 guides, simplify, grow or enjoy, so that you can easily find the support that you need. I really want all 3 of those for you, of course, but you'll know which one is needed most for you right now. And so you can quickly find the support and the information that you need to help you take that next step. So as you know, I tend to take my cues from you and the questions that you ask and the comments that you make in terms of what will be helpful for me to cover during these lives. Sometimes I will read about something, or I might reflect on a past experience and take those learnings to share with you. And sometimes I might share things from my book or what I'm working with my clients on. But most often these lives come directly from you, from your questions, from your requests, from the conversations that we have in this community. So do let me know, where are you stuck? What questions do you have? What challenges are you facing right now? Today's live has been inspired by two different approaches and two different members of this community. So one is from a long-standing community member who is also a client. We had a coaching session last week when we were talking through her options with regards to a co-founder relationship that's not really working out very well. And the second one came from a new member of this community who joined us just a few weeks back, and she sent me this. She sent me this message. Hi Lisa, I've got a question and I'd love your insight or advice on this topic. It's to do with values, and when values clash, how do you deal with that? So, some good stuff to talk about today. Today's live is all about difficult business relationships. Are you maybe in a business relationship that's not really working for you? Maybe with a business partner, a fellow director, or a member of your team? Maybe your approach or your expectations are a bit at odds. Perhaps the way you're handling certain situations is different, or it could be something deeper like your values not quite being aligned. Whatever is happening, you know deep down, don't you, that things really do need to change. But what's the best way to approach the situation? How do you weigh up those options, and how do you have that difficult conversation? So today's live is, as always, designed to give you some things to think about, but also some concrete actions that you can take today. So when any relationship is not working out, there are usually many layers. So on the surface, there might be kind of resentment, tension, frustration, and below that, there might be some feelings of maybe feeling disrespected, maybe underappreciated, or being taken for granted. But it's what's often buried deep below all of those layers that's really the cause of the problem. And that's what we really want to work out, what's kind of really going on right underneath. And it's likely to be a mismatch between you and the other person in one or more of these three areas. So if you think about the kind of the surface level, we've got expectations. So how do you go about doing things? Then we've kind of got the goals, like what do you both want? And then kind of right deep under that is the values, essentially the why do you do what you do? And we really need to figure out which one of these is the problem before we can try and resolve the issue. So the first place to start is always with you, with ourselves. It's easy and very common to think that it's the other person that's the issue. And that might be the case, but until you get really clear about where you stand and what you want, it's going to be really difficult for you to move forward. That's why we always start with ourselves. And this is, of course, where coaching can really help someone to help you answer some of these tough questions. You can ask my clients, of course, but I believe my greatest value to them and to you is really helping people get clear, and that is what a good coach will do for you. So firstly, let's think about expectations, and the reason that I describe that as more surface is that that's actually the easiest of the three to resolve. So first of all, then, we ask ourselves, have I been really clear about what I want from the other person, the person that you're having a challenge with? How I'm expecting them to behave, how I'm expecting them to work. Have I really been clear? We need to ask ourselves some honest questions here. I see this really a lot in my work. We get frustrated that maybe our co-founder or a team member is not working maybe as hard as we expect or in the way that we expect, only to realise, perhaps with some help, that we haven't really been clear with them about our expectations. So, question for you then is, what are your expectations, and do you know what the other person expects of you, and are you sure? So once you've asked yourself those questions, then we're going to go and look at goals. So what is it that you actually want, from this situation? What do you really want? In the session that I had with my client last week, there was a lot of guilt coming out and plenty of people telling her what she should do. And I had to really help her focus on what does she really want. It can often feel selfish to prioritize our own needs above others. And maybe even to turn your back on something that used to serve you, but no longer does. But my advice is to get really clear about what is right for you, and only then ask yourself if and how you can blend it in with others and what others want, right? You've got to know where you stand before you can do any kind of negotiation. So a good way to get clear about what you want is to sort of ask yourself, what's my ideal scenario in this situation? Now, when I find when I ask this question, what people will say to me is, I'd like the other person to do X, Y, and Z, change, ABC, change this. That's no good, I'm afraid. You're just giving away all of your power to the other person and allowing your happiness to be controlled by them. It's got to start with you. So the question really is, what is my ideal scenario in terms of what I can control? Once you've got really clear about your ideal scenario, then you can think about what the other person might want. Now, it is really important not to make assumptions here. We are going to make some assumptions, but we're going to check them out. Okay, we cannot avoid having this conversation. We cannot avoid having the conversation. But it is really hugely helpful to try and anticipate some of the possible answers to your questions about what they want. So it's a good idea to sort of think through the different options and the different things that they might say, particularly if you are in a situation where you easily get flustered or you kind of lose your train when you're having these difficult conversations with the other person, is thinking through the options and what they might say and how you might respond to that is really helpful. So in the case of the client that I was telling you about with the co-founder, once we got really clear about what she wanted, we then went through the sort of possible outcomes that the other person might suggest, we talked through the different options so that she could go into the conversation feeling prepared. If your goals are very different than the other person's, and I see that a lot, then that is difficult to resolve. I worked with two co-founders a few years back who were experiencing a lot of tension between them, and then when we dug a bit deeper, it turned out that he wanted to grow slowly and not get too big and too complicated, and she was really going for it and chasing world domination, as I like to say. The interesting thing about that work that I did with them was that they were both really surprised that they had such different goals, and also that they'd never really had the conversation in the 5 years that they had been in business together. So in this case, this example, she ended up leaving and starting her own thing, which is now wildly successful, while he is really happy with his smaller business that gives him the flexibility to spend time with his family, and that was what he really wanted. So we managed to resolve the tension before their relationship broke down completely. And that's what you want to think about here is I know it's difficult to have the conversation, but if you don't, it's just going to get worse and worse, and you might lose that person completely from your life, which you might not want to do. Maybe you do. Okay, so we've talked about expectations, we've talked about goals, and now we get to probably the trickiest piece of this, which is the values, which is what one of our community members was really getting at. And when you've got a values mismatch, that can be really challenging to solve. But let's get into that. Let me explain how you kind of wrestle with this. So first of all, to get clear on your own values, it's really helpful to think about times when you felt most alive, most connected with who you really are as a person. What what behaviours, what qualities, what virtues were most present in you at that time. What was going on? What was really making you feel so alive and really like, oh my God, you know, those times maybe where you feel like, oh my God, this is really who I am. Think back to those times and see if you can pinpoint what were those qualities, what were those behaviours, what was it that really made you feel so connected and so alive. And then think about setbacks or failures or really difficult times in your life and ask yourself the same question, if you like. So what virtues, behaviours or qualities were somehow missing in those moments that might have made a difference to the outcome? And this is one of the ways that we help ourselves get really clear about what's really important to us, which is really what our values are. Our values are really the lens through which we see the world, we see ourselves, we also, the way that we understand whether or not we are successful, whatever that means. So it's really a very powerful filter through that impacts our behaviours and basically the way that we see ourselves in the world. So to really dig deep into what's most important to you, you can look out into the world at large, and you can look at somebody who maybe challenges you a lot and ask yourself, what do you feel like is missing from that person? Or conversely, what is really present in someone who you really admire, who really inspires you? It's these values which are likely to be those that you are most willing to take a stand for, that are really core to you and who you are, or who you think you are, which is ultimately who you are. And then you need to think about how you would choose to express your values and how they are really unique to you. So by that I mean, you know, one person's success or freedom is very different to another's, and it's really, your values are really defined by how you choose to express them. A values clash, as I said, can be actually really hard to overcome. It really does require a willingness from both parties to find areas where their values overlap. And that requires a lot of reflection and self-awareness on both parts. And ultimately, you might not be able to find an overlap, or you might not be willing to go there. But if you are both committed to making the relationship work, then again, coaching can help you come together. Leadership doesn't just come from the top, and actually the other person's values may be exactly what your organisation needs, but it does require humility and really good listening skills to move forward from a values clash. Knowing our own values is really fundamental to our ability to boldly step forward and speak our truth. If you can get to that level of conversation with the other person, the opportunities can really be transformational, not just for you and for them, but also for your business. Conflict or disagreement is often an opportunity for deeper understanding or increased creativity, but ultimately, if you can't get on the same page or your values are just not at all aligned, it is likely to become impossible for you to continue the relationship. I see this among senior members of founding teams who find themselves pulling in opposite directions and being unable to agree. And sometimes these situations are salvageable, but sometimes they're not. And that is the honest truth, right? You know, sometimes you can't really work closely with somebody whose values don't in some way at least overlap, if not align with yours. It's not really possible without severely compromising your mental health, quite frankly. So once you are clear about your expectations of the other person, your goals, what you want from the situation, and your values, like what's really important to you, and you have mentally prepared yourself for how you might respond to different situations, different choices, different proposals that are being made by the other person, then it is time to have the conversation. Now, depending on how long the the conflict or the tension has been going on and how severe it is, then having a third party present might be helpful, might be useful to help facilitate that conversation. Someone who can structure and guide the conversation a little bit, and keep it from descending into an unproductive mess or just ending abruptly because one person just gets up and leaves. I call it marriage guidance for business, and it's one of the most enjoyable and challenging parts of my job. It is really, really, really important that you check out all and any assumptions that I've encouraged you to make whilst you're thinking and preparing for this conversation. It is really important that you check that out. You may well not be correct in some or all of your assumptions. And be ready to be surprised, and this is what I mean by, checking out your assumptions. Be ready to be surprised. Yes, you want to be prepared, but flexibility really is key, because something might come out of left field that you really weren't expecting. It might actually even not be such a painful conversation. Often these conversations do turn out to be less painful than you fear that they might be. Don't forget that it's really unlikely that the other person is completely oblivious to the problem. So they've probably also been taking some time to think about how to find a resolution with you. They may even have watched this video, you never know. Now, I want to say one thing here, and that is that I do believe that there is a solution to every problem. If you're living with something that is not working for you, you might be telling yourself that there is no solution. And I do see that a lot in my coaching practice. But if that's the case and you're telling yourself that there is no solution, then you are deluding yourself, you're lying to yourself, you're misleading yourself. There is a solution, there is a solution. Perhaps you just don't want to face it, and that's fine, but then don't tell yourself there's no solution. There is a solution to every problem. And the pain is likely to increase over time. So if you ignore it, it is going to get worse. And relating back to a live that I did just a few weeks ago, if you simply bail, which I know is what a lot of people want to do, and this is what I tell all of my coaching clients, if you simply bail, which is your choice of course, without dealing with the conflict, without dealing with this difficult relationship, you are extremely likely to find a way to bring a similar situation back into your life. This is how we learn. So ask yourself the tough questions, have that difficult conversation, do the work. Resolving these issues, of course, takes time and effort, but it is so worth it to get a resolution to a situation that is probably just draining your energy and your focus. And trust me, even though it can be really, really tough, and I'm not trying to sugarcoat this, you always, always, always feel better afterwards. So do let me know your questions and comments. What difficult business relationships do you need to resolve? And do you think that they are mismatches in expectations, goals, or values? Or maybe a combination, but as I say, they are quite different. So do spend some time thinking about that. So do let me know what's that next step in your life, in your business? What do you need to make you feel more confident? Do book in a clarity call with me, and let's get you moving past whatever is blocking your progress and on to the next challenge. There's always a next challenge. Before I close up for today, I just want to give you some next steps, some really concrete things that I suggest you do as a result of this live today. So firstly, I'd like you to think about a challenging relationship that you have currently or you have had in the past. And then next, think about what your expectations are or were in terms of the other person. What are or were your goals with regards to that situation, and what are your values? Your values won't have changed. And thirdly, you know what's coming. Take action. Have that conversation. Have the conversation. Or if the situation is in the past, take a good look at whether or not you really learned what you needed to, so that you can avoid bringing it back into your life. Please do let me know how you get on with those concrete actions, and do let me know if you need any support with this. I'm going to close up today's live, as I always do, with 2 quotes today about difficult relationships. So the first one is from Sylvester McNutt, who is an American author. And what he has to say on this topic is, closure happens right after you accepting that letting go and moving on is more important than projecting a fantasy of how the relationship could have been. And my second quote is from an expert in conflict resolution. His name is Thomas Crum. The quality of our lives depends not on whether or not we have conflicts, but on how we respond to them. It really is worth spending some time getting really clear about what's not working for you and how to resolve it. Decide what's really important to you and stick to it. Building a business is tough. It can be a long, hard road. So do make sure that you are building something that is really meaningful to you and that will sustain you through the tough times. Be really intentional, set clear boundaries, say no to things that don't serve you and the goal that you want to achieve. And as I pass back over to you, as I do every week, that is really what I want you to take from today. What is the outcome that you seek? What is the result? What is the goal? What will really make you happy? Put your energy into getting really clear about that. But absolutely, please allow yourself to do things your way. Yes, by all means, learn from me, learn from others. But when you synthesize all of that learning and you bring it inside of yourself, what comes out must be congruent with you and who you are, with your values, with your goals. It must work for you. If you want to build a huge empire and chase world domination, go for it. But if you just want to do your thing, that is okay too. Focus on listening to yourself and ask yourself, what do you need so that you can spend more time in your flow? And don't forget that the opposite of flow is friction. So if things aren't really working, then take a step back and focus on getting some clarity. Get some objective input, hire the services of a business coach, take some time to look at what you're doing and where an easier path might start from and lead you to. Ask yourself, what would a business that really works for me look like? Let me know your thoughts and your questions on this or on any other topic relating to how to simplify, grow and enjoy your business. What area of business would you like me to speak about next? And also, who do you know that could benefit from joining this community or having a conversation with me? If you haven't claimed your free copy of my first book, The Real Entrepreneur, then you can go to therealentrepreneur.book.com. If you prefer an Audible or a Kindle version, you can find those on Amazon. Do check out the accountability section of my book for much more on this topic. Plus, check out the lives that I did recently, one on negotiating and the other one on patterns and boundaries. Get the foundations right and you really can build from there. I really hope that you have a lovely weekend, whatever you're doing and whoever you're doing it with. I wish you a really happy and peaceful time. And as always, if you want to talk, then you know where I am. Please remember to be where you are in the journey. You don't need to know it all and you definitely don't have to do it all. Take care, stay safe and keep in touch. Bye for now.